Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on, help you understand best practice and big picture, and obviously celebrate the small stuff if at all possible. Now, what I mean by that is we're making higher lows and it's looking decent that the price wants to continue to progress upwards from here. Obviously, there's a lot of ground to cover, but we're looking pretty well there in that sense, which is why I felt confident to take a long position here today. So I'll talk more about that here in a moment. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, really just hope you can learn something here today. I love teaching people how to trade, and obviously, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. And what I do is I provide you with a signal, basically for every single trade that takes so you can learn how to structure your trades, a trading academy and community. So be sure to check that out in your own time. I do have discounts for military and third world countries. So message me direct if you'd like. Once again, I'll never message you directly. I'll never solicit you. I only respond to initial messages. So my contact information is down below. That's the only way in which you should be able to reach me. I do not have a WhatsApp account or WhatsApp account. I'm not going to spam you in the comments, I promise. All right, so taking a look here at Bitcoin. I got some notes actually pulled up from the signal I sent out because when I send out my signals now, I kind of like to try to provide the explanation as to why we take the trade, right? And right now, Bitcoin is providing us with an ascending pattern. We can see that the ascending pattern here is essentially making higher lows, right? So we got these higher lows here. And then, of course, the price continues to retest key level resistance, which is 31,800. So we're essentially making higher lows. We've got a strong volume support at 30,000 as well. So if we take a look at the volume profile, tremendous amount of volume just below the price action. So 30,000, if the price were to come back down there, which it has tried, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row, it's retested that level, and it keeps getting rejected to the upside. That's a very positive sign. It's also holding above the 20-day SMA, which isn't super important, but it is a helpful factor. Kind of, again, all these things combined kind of gives you a little more confidence knowing that we should be continuing to the upside here with a strong potential break of 31,800. And if when that happens, we'll probably see some type of squeeze where the price will likely shoot up from there. And then obviously, the history will repeat itself and we'll hit specific resistance stuff. Those are all things we can talk about later, but generally speaking, the key here is to get above 31,800. Okay, and keep in mind too, the next key level resistance is 33,000. I don't have it marked here, of course, because it was kind of getting in the way. But if you look back here, that's this is the lowest point in which the price wanted to come back in January. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. That's going to be a key level resistance. So again, let's just go ahead and reiterate some of the obvious. We're below the 20-day SMA. We will be like that for some time, but we're maintaining above the 50. And in Bitcoin's history, again, it doesn't have to repeat itself, but oftentimes trading does this. We can see that Bitcoin is essentially stayed in this time frame or this type of area, so to speak, this range for 6 months. So roughly, we can expect the price to come down here, and then within about 6 months or so, break the 20-day SMA. That's essentially what it's done in the past. Okay, the thing it also has done is broken below 50 on the RSI, stayed below for 6 months, and then broke back up above. So hypothetically, 6 months from now, we'll have the price action right back up above that resistance. So those are all things we're looking for. Right now, we can expect more downside, but on the same accord, here's another pattern that we're able to identify as well, is the fact that it's common for us to see 3 red months followed by a green month. Okay, so there's a decent chance June or July will be a green month in that sentiment alone. This month could very well be one as well if we break some of those key level resistances that we're stuck under for the moment. Again, just some speculative stuff there. There's no guarantees on that, of course, but just something to acknowledge. Another thing to acknowledge too is we have 9 red weeks in a row, followed by a green gravestone, as well as our current candle forming this week. So that doesn't really tell us a tremendous amount, but it does let us know that, hey, we hit this exhaustive state, and the likelihood of the price bouncing back moving forward is greater than it is pushing down lower from here. In other words, there's a lot of buying pressure at 30,000, 29,000, and there's a great chance that we shouldn't expect to see the price drop below that in the immediate future. But I do think it's probable that we'll see the price still retest the 200-day SMA here on the weekly, which is right around 22, 23,000, as well as possibly even the 50-day SMA on the monthly, which we just looked at, which is right around 21.5. They're slowly averaging themselves up as the price comes down. So it's essentially just kind of potentially work as a strong support level once we get there. Again, no guarantees on that either. We could very well see 30,000 as the bottom here. But again, we want to be prepared and ready for the fact that 20,000-ish, or the low 20s is a very strong likelihood, just based on that being a previous all-time high, and previous all-time highs are oftentimes retested once every 4 years. All right, so generally that's how that works. So taking a look at the daily, some pretty obvious stuff here though. I kind of highlighted this already, but generally speaking, we are looking at higher lows. Again, this is something I'm excited about. I like to see this. If we continue to maintain this, we'll inevitably break up above this trend line here within the next week. So we should experience a price point above 32,000 in the relative near future, based on what we're seeing here so far. Again, we're over the 20-day SMA. We got the higher lows forming. I love higher lows because the fact that they are helpful with transitions, and they help us understand that we are, shifting from a type of bearish sentiment to a potentially bullish. And, again, higher highs is great. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Higher highs is what you want to see on a bullish continuation. But when it comes to a reversal where the price is trying to reverse from getting pushed down so far, you have to establish higher lows first. And those are the most important. And higher lows lead to an ascending type of pattern. And this ascending type of pattern will also lead to a break through that key level resistance. And that's what we're hoping for. All right, so again, looking more favorable here in that sense. But there's no doubt about it. We're stuck pretty much right at 50 on the RSI. It's never a fantastic sign. On the 4 hour, we can also see we're trending right around 50 as well on the RSI. So we're pretty much just averaging out. Again, that's just this type of squeeze that we're seeing here right now so far. And, the way that it looks, it does feel like it wants to break to the upside. But again, you could argue that it's going to come down as like a bearish type of pennant pattern. But honestly, that should have happened a long time ago if it had. Why didn't it happen yet? Well, we got so much volume at this price point between 29 and 30,000 that is creating this strong resistance shelf where the price is unwilling to go lower, and the bears are starting to lose their momentum. Okay, so that's a positive sign. Taking a look though at let's go with the 1 hour. Let's go ahead and see if there's much to really extract here. It's all over the place, honestly, and it's really weird kind of price action. Like you can literally see the same buyers selling and then buying again and then selling again. It's just kind of a crazy little nonsensical situation. I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint, them taking their profits after they jack up the price, but eventually that's going to have to cease to exist, and that's why it's starting to slowly squeeze into this little type of wedge, and the inevitability of a breakout, either up or down, is greater. Okay. Now there is a possibility of breaking down still as well. There's no guarantees there, but we are still holding on the daily. Once again, this ascending pattern. So even though, yes, this came all the way down here, we can see that in the general sense, the big picture, this one-day candlestick close inevitably closed higher above this level. And that's the important thing to acknowledge. That's giving us the higher lows. That's why you use the daily, not the hourly or the 4 hour, to establish key level supports and resistances and trend lines, because the smaller the time frame, honestly, is more difficult and is not going to give you some accurate results. Because again, you could argue that, hey, we got an ascending pattern here, but that could change at a moment's notice. The important thing is to take the 24-hour period, a larger, bigger picture to understand in this time frame what happened. And we can tell we're making higher lows on the daily, and that's a great sign. So again, what we see here isn't terrible, but it's not it's not really telling too much here. I mean, you could argue the fact that we keep breaking above and below the cloud, so this isn't really a good barometer for taking a trade either, which is the main reason why I focused on some of the more so macro behavior here, and obviously some micro too, but for the most part you can tell that the daily is kind of explaining that it wants to continue to go higher, and we kind of got to go on that until it changes its mind, right? So until we can break this ascending pattern, then we're going to be continuing to do what we're doing. Big picture too, also keep in mind we have a descending pattern as well. So I mean, this is the elephant in the room. We got to acknowledge this is concurrent here with the 50-day SMA. So with that 50-day SMA being basically pushing the price action down, so to speak, that will work as a resistance level. So we're going to have this situation potentially where the price comes over, where we're hitting all sorts of specific resistances and key level moving averages that are going to possibly push the price action either down, or it'll blast straight through and continue upwards from there. But the key here is we want to get above the 50-day SMA, basically break above this trend line, and we're soon to test that. Okay, so I'm really excited to see that. Oftentimes when you test key level resistance like that, it rejects out the first time. We might see a rejection, but we may also see a strong break, a clean break, because of the fact that there's so many shorts trying to, they have their stop losses set right above that key level resistance at probably 33,000. And they're going to get squeezed out potentially if the price can break that level, and then the price will go up even faster. That's the idea and that's the hope. But for right now, ultimately, we're not in dire straits. Bitcoin is definitely looking, I would say, overall better. Yes, the price action has been a little on the choppy side. There's no doubt that this is very ridiculous behavior. This shouldn't be happening. That's not what a market's supposed to look like. But it is crypto, and it's pretty much exactly what it looks like, and that's how it works. So get on board with it. Try to, again, have a positive mental attitude and make sure that you are on the right side of the tracks. Because if you're not healthy, healthy body, you're really going to have some difficulty finding good trades and being a good trader. Okay. Again, these are all things I teach in my trading academy. So obviously, if you're not currently a community member, consider joining CryptoCache.tech as a site. Link in the description below. And I just think it's important that we all focus on the right things. And while it's great that the market, is doing what it's doing, or not so great rather, of course, because a lot of people are getting washed out, this is the best time to invest, and this is the best time to learn as much as you can. Okay, learn what you can on the downtrend, and because we talked about this in our community yesterday. There's a lot of situations where people, basically for the most part, you can tell that when you have a first bull market, the person that does that, they usually get wrecked. In other words, anyone that joined in after after November of this year had a pretty tough go at it, because they got in at the top and now you're down by 50, 60, 70, 80%. And it's a tough pill to swallow. But you got to understand, if you can have the opportunity to be able to continue to add your position at this lower price point, when the inevitability of the price coming back up occurs, you're going to be in a much better position. So, your second bull market's always tremendously better than your first. So please understand that and try not to get super discouraged, because I've lost plenty of money in my day, right? But I've mitigated that loss significantly over the past few years because I've had a strong risk tolerance. I have a good, healthy body and a healthy mind. And that is something I think you need to focus on. All right, anyways, just some friendly advice there for future reference. I hope that bodes well for you. And I'm going to bid you adieu. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for watching. Tremendously appreciate your support for all my community members and, of course, subscribers. I do look forward to work with you if you want to become one. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.